Hey, good morning, everybody, and thank you for convening today on this rainy, possibly snowing, no, I'm just kidding, day. So today we're here on January 21st for our artificial intelligence meeting, and I'll go ahead and set that over to our superintendent, Superintendent Ayers.
Appreciate that, Mrs. Combs. Board members, so our workshop today will just focus on the use of artificial intelligence in our school district. So we have a presentation for you, and then we'll open it up to questions and answers like any of our workshops. Appreciate the guidance and just direction that will be provided out of this workshop today, and look forward to the conversation. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Ms. Fawcett.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. Good morning, board members. Glad to see you on this chilly Florida morning, and thank you for requesting this workshop about artificial intelligence. So as the Chief Academic Officer and the leader of Hillsborough's AI governance team for our district, I'm excited to share our learnings around this innovative technology and how AI can assist us in reaching our vision as a district, which is to ensure our students are prepared for life. I look forward to the insights and guidance our board workshops always provide. Let me start just with some navigation to the materials I provided for you. In your notebook behind tab 1 is the PowerPoint presentation that I'll be utilizing this morning. Every slide has a slide number in the bottom left-hand corner. And some slides also have a tab number, like slide number 5 has a tab number in the right-hand corner, and that just correlates to your notebook, to the tab that has some supporting information. So I just want to make sure everybody's got that navigation this morning.
I just want to try that.
Okay, so let me introduce 3 members of the AI governance team that are with me this morning. Chris Jargo is our Director for Career and Technical Education. Christopher Holt is one of our supervisors in professional learning, and Dr. Greg Basham is the principal of King High School. So artificial intelligence is transforming how we live and work and educate, making it vital to explore its role in K-12 education. During our time together this morning, we'll examine the big picture landscape of the K-12 space, delve into the work already underway in our district, and dedicate time for meaningful board discussion. So AI, or artificial intelligence, refers to systems and tools that simulate human intelligence to perform tasks like learning, problem solving, and decision making. So AI is everywhere, if we didn't realize that already. AI is anything from personal assistants, social media comment summaries, streaming services that offer suggestion for what movies we might want to watch. Are you good?
I don't have section 1, but we're good. I can follow through.
Can you grab another notebook for her real quick?
Apologize for that this morning.
Movies
we might want to watch, smart devices
that track our fitness,
map routing that changes based on traffic patterns, predictive word completion on our text messages are just a few ways that AI is already infused into our life. It's not the technology of the future, as some may say. It's shaping our present, and it's influencing how we are preparing students for their future.
So
Hillsborough County Public Schools has adopted a go slow to go fast strategy. By being delivered in learning and implementation, we can avoid pitfalls and maximize the benefits of AI for students and staff.
This approach ensures we're building a strong, sustainable foundation, and through this, the nimble ability to change as needed based on new guidance and new innovations. So artificial intelligence guidance for education systems is also evolving quickly. The U.S. Department of Education has already authored 3 documents to provide learning and guidance to school systems. As of August 2024, 22 had developed state-level use information for data. And although Florida isn't currently currently on that list, I sit on the Florida Artificial Intelligence K-12 Task Force with representation from many of the other districts. This team is developing a comprehensive roadmap for implementation success. The timeline for completion of the work of that task force is later in the spring this year. Many Florida districts, though, have already gone down the path to develop their own implementation strategies. The ILO Group, AI in Education, Skills 21, the University of Florida, the University of South Florida, and Microsoft are a few of the professional organizations that we have or are engaging with to support our district. And in July 2024, last year, the district decided it was time to initiate an artificial intelligence governance team made up of cross-divisional representation to begin shaping our direction. So in reviewing the documents across multiple states of our nation, there are many things that state leaders agree upon regarding implementation, and many of them are listed on the slide here. Thoughtful and robust plans for professional learning and technology use for students, understanding the opportunities and risks associated with AI use, academic integrity, and an emphasis on access for all, just to name a few. However, there is significant variability in how states have been addressing AI use as well, from governance to classroom implementation. Some emphasize flexibility, while others provide very prescriptive guidelines. We're taking note of all these differences as the Hillsborough team drafts potential protocols and processes for use. Districts across the state of Florida even are taking diverse approaches, from integrating this innovative technology into curriculum to cautioning against an over-reliance on AI tools. These examples highlight the importance of tailoring protocols to our local level while aligning with best practices. In addition to federal, state, and local district documents, we've also reached out to many of our educational partners to learn their stance on the use of artificial intelligence. Included here is a statement from the IB website, and I'll read that. Latest developments in artificial intelligence AI software, such as ChatGPT, that can write sophisticated essay responses, have generated a great deal of interest and discussion. The IB will not ban the use of AI software. The simplest reason is that it is an ineffective way to deal with innovation. However, the use of AI tools should be in line with the IB's academic integrity policy. We expect our schools to discuss the various types of academic misconduct with their students. The language of the IB also reflects what we have read in the multiple guidance documents we've received. At the local level, so here in our district, we're building a foundation for AI integration through thoughtful strategy, learning, and stakeholder engagement. The governance reviewed board policies and our current code of conduct. We found 10 policies that correlate to the use of AI. 3 specific examples are Policy 2131, Educational Outcome Goals; Policy 2210, Curriculum Development; Policy 2250, Innovative Programs; and the Student Code of Conduct has a section addressing digital citizenship. The 6 guiding principles detailed on this slide emerged after a thorough review of federal and state guidelines, policies from other counties, and current professional readings and research. They will serve as the bedrock for how we in Hillsborough approach AI in our district. So number 1 is a human-centric belief, ensuring that AI supports and not replaces human interaction for education. Number 2, equitable access, addressing barriers to digital academic resources for all. Number 3, ethical use, upholding transparency, bolstering rules that align with our commitment to academic integrity, protecting student data, and mitigating reported AI biases. Number 4, innovation and collaboration, leveraging external expertise and staying on the forefront of advancements. Number 5, professional learning, equipping our educators to effectively and responsibly use AI. And number 6, future-ready skills, continuing to prepare students to think critically and creatively in an AI-infused world. Once again, grounding our approach, comprehensive review, we're ensuring our implementation of AI is strategic. Student Advisory Council, and thank you, Superintendent, for yielding some of that time for student discussion around this topic. We engaged in a very real conversation about the current use of AI tools from their perspective. These students are excited about the possibility of artificial intelligence will bring, but they're also very cautious. Students collaborated around those 6 big principles and were able to provide actionable next steps for consideration. This slide reflects a few of the students' thoughts on the survey that they took at the close of that council meeting that night, and the rest of the comments are in your support materials. In order to gather a more comprehensive understanding of the current use of AI programs in the district, the week of December 2nd, we launched a Use of Artificial Intelligence survey. The survey was administered to the oldest students at each grade band, teachers, and administrators, and we were pleased with the number of responses received, 10,472. The students shared thoughtful perspectives about AI, highlighting both its potential and the areas where they see risks. They recognize AI's ability to enhance learning, but also express concerns about ethical use and the importance of keeping education personalized. An interesting thread throughout all of the student responses was the need for the human connection. Whether it was the result of online teaching and learning during COVID, or their current level of connection to the digital universe, students expressed the desire to make sure AI doesn't take the place of their teacher. This was such a positive, and it really was an unexpected sentiment, and I'm sure there's a dissertation topic in there somewhere for someone. Educators and administrators actually echoed students' sentiments, wanting guidance and guardrails, emphasizing their need for professional learning as adults as well. They see AI as a tool that not only can support student learning, but can also streamline administrative tasks, making better use of making them more efficient and effective with their time. So on this next slide is some professional learning and where we're starting with our staff. So on the left-hand side of this slide, you'll see tools that have been carefully vetted that are already being used by adults in Hillsborough County. These include products like Microsoft Copilot, Conmigo for Canvas, and Magic School, which are enhancing efficiency and collaboration in our professional practices. I'm going to turn this over to Chris Holt because he leads this work to share a little bit about these 3 tools and where we are with implementation.
Thank you, Ms. Offset. Good morning, board members, Superintendent Ayers. Starting off with Copilot. Copilot is a Microsoft product. It is currently embedded into our web browser that all of our teachers use, not our students, but our teachers. It sits up in the upper right corner. It's kind of a little swirl logo. And the key to that is that it is a LLM. It's a large language model that teachers are allowed to prompt to and get results back from. The big difference between Copilot and, say, just going out to ChatGPT or Gemini or any of those tools is that Microsoft Copilot fits under the umbrella of our enterprise data protection. So that means if a teacher was to go in and put a student name or put some information of a student, that falls under the umbrella of data protection we have in our wider Microsoft contract. That's why in any communication we provide or training we provide, we recommend that Copilot is the tool, the large language model that our teachers use. The other big piece of that is, yes, it's covered by the data protection, but part of that means that LLM is not learning from the information we're putting into it. So any prompts that our teachers are putting in, the model basically will let you do 30 prompts, and then it kind of forgets you and goes away. That model also does not, none of that data that's put in by our teachers or staff members or anyone else is stored or used to train the model itself. Okay? Now, the other two tools that are there, both Conmigo and Magic School on the left side, are something we call, they're kind of like prompt libraries, right? So teachers that are not comfortable with prompting, they can go into this system and there'll be a prompt to say, unpack this standard. And then they can click and put a few simple fields in to then unpack it. It's kind of like an introductory tool into the use of AI. So they don't have to learn how to prompt. As we talk a little bit about the training plan later, I'll talk a little bit more about prompting and how we're going to help make sure our teachers are great and able to do that. But those two other tools, Magic School and Conmigo, are those types of prompt libraries that help teachers that maybe don't have the AI skills yet to prompt get really great results and efficient work out of AI. Now, Conmigo just recently signed an agreement with Canvas. We've got that integrated. We're going to be working with King High School as well as some teachers, some others, to start testing that. That way, teachers don't have to leave Canvas. I'm in Canvas to teach from. I've got my resources there. I've got a prompt generator right there or a prompt library where I can go get help is right there, and I can use all that in one place. So again, our teachers don't have to waste time moving between different systems. We're going to test that, and then as we get some feedback from that, we'll roll that out and train our teachers on that. So, hand it back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. So on the right hand of the slide, we highlight our ongoing learning and collaborations that will guide and propel us forward as well. And these include participation in the AASA Super Summit next week, actually, for select school and district administrators. It's an AI focus, the entire conference. Not on the slide is a group of 12 HCPS staff, including 6 principals, attending the Impact Florida Educator Summit in February. This conference also has an AI strong focus. Strategic collaborations with key partners. For example, last Thursday, Deputy Superintendent McCray, Dr. Tom Weeks, and I had an in-person strategy session with Microsoft. Heather Danforth, the Vice President of U.S. Academics, and her team were here actually in this room strategizing with us. And as mentioned earlier, the work of Florida's Artificial Intelligence K-12 Task Force, which is in collaboration with the University of South Florida. These efforts that we are engaged in ensure that our district remains at the forefront of innovation as well as prepared to navigate the evolving AI landscape. Now, when we talk about implementation with students, there's 4 different components here. From independent use to courses in this area, we're exploring the ways to use AI to support critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration. This implementation will be guided by our 6 big principles and informed by feedback from our stakeholders. And there are 4 categories that I'd like to identify. So the first category is related to the products that students use independently to support their learning. This can range from a tool like Grammarly, which provides corrective options for proper grammar usage, spelling, and so on. A generative product like Microsoft Copilot that Chris referenced, that can write text, it can even translate languages, or a research tool like a Google Gemini. Second are products that the district may vet and purchase to accelerate student learning. Last fall, the board approved an outcomes-based contract purchasing Amira to be used with a targeted group of 2nd and 3rd graders. When students struggle, this software provides fluency prompting utilizing the science of reading grounded strategies. And third are the new Florida computer science standards. So Tab 8 provides a copy of all of Florida's CS standards, and then those specifically related to artificial intelligence. These standards were adopted in the summer of 2024, and they go into effect with the school year of 25-26. And finally, there is the Artificial Intelligence Course Framework. And Chris Jargo is going to take over and share the remarkable work that his CTE department has been engaged in.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fawcett. Good morning, board members. Good morning, Superintendent. So in career and technical education, we're always trying to have relevance to the newest technologies that are available and the newest careers that are available. approximately 2 years ago, we learned about an initiative at the state, the Florida Department of Education, creating new frameworks for artificial intelligence. So frameworks are what the teachers must use in order to teach the students. They have to have course numbers in order to be offered at our high schools and even our middle schools. So the state partnered with someone named Dr. Nancy Rizicki. She is with the University of Florida, department called the Department of Materials, Science, and Engineering. And I'd like to introduce also Mr. Michael Lewis. He's behind me. He is a supervisor in our department, and he has been on the ground working with the team around the state that has been creating curriculum frameworks and also training for teachers, which is very important. So before any students took any classes in artificial intelligence, they had to create first the frameworks and then also the training for the teachers. Because if we ask the teacher to teach something, they're going to absolutely need some instructional resources. So there's been a professional development model over the past few years, and we sought out a school to be the initial pilot, and that was Jefferson High School. So in the prior school year, they offered the very first AI courses. They give you the name of those courses: Artificial Intelligence in the World and Applications of Artificial Intelligence. And that is a series of courses that can be taken over multiple years. So the current school year, we expanded to some new schools. Freedom High School is now offering AI-related courses, as well as Stewart Middle Magnet. Stewart is offering it as a high school credit option for 8th grade students. There is also an initiative to bring middle school courses to the state framework that has not yet happened, but should be coming soon. And once that occurs, we'll likely offer that to middle school students at the middle school level. Could be 6th, 7th, or 8th grade that are traditional middle school classes. Some of the topics covered in the framework include perception, representation and reasoning, machine learning, human-AI interaction, and societal impacts of AI. In addition, Mr. Lewis and myself, we recently went to assistant principal curriculum meetings to discuss the curriculum offerings to our middle school and our high school sites. I know that King High School has already expressed an interest in some expansion in this area in the future, and I will believe that this will expand just like computer science did, where we only had a couple schools and now we have many or most. I believe the AI coursework will expand over the coming years. Middleton High School is also in the process of hiring a teacher to expand these offerings, including data science and machine learning. As you can imagine, there is going to be a wide variety of content from introductory to very advanced in this area, and all the content that we offer is going to relate to how students can enter careers that will relate to AI and also to use it in their broader day-to-day life. Thank you very much for your time. We'll be able to answer any questions later.
Thank you, Chris. So in 2024, our focus was on learning, okay? It was on gathering valuable feedback. Last year was about listening to our stakeholders, which we will, of course, continue to do, but last year was about gathering input from students, educators, and administrators, and understanding their perspectives on AI in education. And through this process, we've gained insights that are shaping our potential strategies and protocols. In 2025, our focus shifts to putting it all together. So this includes synthesizing what we've learned, implementing professional learning district-wide, and continuing to engage with experts and thought leaders or outside our group to gain new perspectives and refine our approach. I have to say thank you to Superintendent Ayers for Jamie Lewis getting our new CFO on board. I look forward to meeting him more formalized and to work with Dr. Weeks and work through the artificial readiness checklist that was provided to us by the Council of the Great City Schools. That document is another tool that will guide our work, and it really helps us to assess our readiness, not only in academics, teaching and learning, but also through the procurement process and also through implementation through our IT division. 25-26 is a pivotal year where our foundational efforts begin to bear fruit. And as always, everything starts with learning. Chris Holt will talk through the draft professional learning plan he and his team has developed.
Thank you, Ms. Fawcett. In your packets, I believe tab 9 is the plan. It's based off feedback that we got from the Innovate K-12 surveys that went out that Ms. Fawcett referenced before. So I'll give you a minute to turn to that if you want before I dive in. I should say Generative Artificial Intelligence Draft Training Plan. Cool. All right. So, anytime we start training on a topic of this level, the best thing to do is to level set and make sure that all of our teachers have exposure to generative AI and the tools that they can use, and also the understandings of how to use it. So phase 1 of the training plan will be in May, launching a online course that is self-paced with the ability for teachers to jump on calls and ask questions as they need, that will walk through the basics of using AI. So that's an introduction to what generative AI is. It's an introduction to how to prompt AI and how to effectively prompt it to get the results out of it, and also just to build an understanding of what it is, and by that time, the policies that we are going to develop through the AI Governance Council, so that all of our teachers will understand the best practices and the policies that are put forth. We started there because one of the biggest things that came back in the survey was the teachers wanted training on effective utilization and best practices of using AI. So we wanted, in this first phase, to empower all of our teachers to understand how to use AI and how to responsibly use it, because we can't predict the myriad of tools that are out there that our teachers are going to interact with, but what we can empower them with is a skill set to know how to use it and how to make sure our student data is protected. Rolling into summer, we're going to have kind of a kickoff conference that will have teachers that are able to submit proposals to come present, have a collaborative conference focused on 4 kind of main pathways. One of those would be AI literacy, which is very similar to what I just spoke about. One of those would be how to become more productive using AI, and then building on that, on how to use AI both to unpack curriculum standards, lesson plans, support them with those tools, as well as an administrative kind of category, so that some administrators that would like to attend can also get support in understanding the tools. If you look at the AI survey from an administrator perspective, one of their biggest things they talked about were, how do I lead on a campus with AI? How do I understand what instructional tools are in place that teachers can use so that I can effectively help my teachers use it, right? So we're going to have that as the 4th pillar of that particular event. Rolling into phase 3, which will be right after that event, will be to build on those and allow for those trainings to be wide. So now that we know we've established a basis for AI and generative AI in our classrooms, we've established a skill and a best practice for our teachers using it, now we can dive into more focused trainings that are on how to build lesson plans, how to unpack standards like we talked about, how to use AI to analyze data, and do all the functions that teachers use. We all know that teachers would love more time. We all know that they love more salary too, right? Thank you to the voters of Hillsborough County for that. But also getting that time back and being able to be as efficient in their work as possible allows them to deploy the best lessons that they can and get the best learning outcomes that they can. We predict AI will be a big part of that, and we look forward to making sure that teachers not only know how to use AI in that sense, but know how to use it in that focused way with our students. So that will be phase 3. Will be to start learning how to use it to lesson plan and build those skills from a wider sense. That's kind of the 20,000-foot view. I'm sure, obviously, we open to any questions here in a moment, but I'll hand it back over to Ms. Fawcett.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. So, board members, the opportunity before us is to embrace the transformative potential of AI to enhance learning. And by focusing on a thoughtful implementation, we can ensure AI serves as a powerful tool for growth while addressing the challenges of implementation of AI responsibly. And I thank you for your time, and we look forward to listening to your discussion, your conversation, and answering any questions that you might have today.
Thank you. Thank you for that presentation. So far, we have Member Gray in the queue. Anyone else who wants to get in the queue, just let me know.
Wow. Colleen Fawcett, you did an excellent job. Chris Holt, thank you. Chris Jargo as well. And Dr. Greg Basham, I know why you're here. You're from King. You're doing a pilot. I asked for this workshop two times previously. The board members decided not to have it until now, which is good, because this has been going on rapidly. And when I talk about what has been done, I know Orange County, Osceola, Broward, they have started pilots to your effect, Greg, and I think it's a great idea to start small. And I had a few questions. The first part of the question is concerned for parents, the communication piece. How are we equipped to communicate to parents, not only that the teachers will be using AI, but their homework and all the type of papers that the kids will be having, the plagiarism concern. So let's address that first, the communication to parents.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So part of our plan in 2025 is to, now that the governance team has gone through a lot of learning, so now at least we've got some stability underneath us, is really to bring in that teacher and bring in a group of teachers to help us write those protocols for use. At that point, we want to engage them as well, and principals and assistant principals, in providing them a toolkit almost of, because how it's implemented at one school will look different than how it's implemented at another school, and certainly look differently across grade bands. And so that is where we truly rely on the strength and the power of our teachers and our administrators to help us with those communication plans, whether it be a district level 20,000-foot view piece of communication that we need to do, and then in conjunction with what principals, AP, and teachers have available for their communication.
And thank you for that. It's a big question. The reason I brought this up almost a year ago, the AI workshop, is because we have funding. House Bill 1361 allows us to receive funding. Now, to that point and to that bill, and I know you mentioned this in the PD, professional development training, all this takes a little bit of money. Chris, to your point, when we're asking teachers to learn, etc., are we giving them stipends? But there's funding. So do any of you want to remark on how we're using the state funds by grants or whatever other vehicle?
Absolutely. So yes, by contract, our teachers do receive a stipend when they attend professional learning, and the typical funding source for that is the federal Title II grant program. As far as 1361, a lot of that is tied up in, it's not in legislator, but it's in red tape, I'm going to call it that, through purchasing, through RFP. That money is not coming directly to districts. It is going to the University of Florida Lastinger Center. They have put out the RFP for the different tutoring and things they have available that the law allows for in 612. But we are in close communication with the person who's in charge of that program at the University of Florida, so that we have a little inside scoop of when we might think we see some funding for the district. But I love the bill. I love the idea of the legislation. It's caught up right now in a little bit of bureaucracy.
Yeah, about grants. Can't we apply for grants?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We have a great grant department. The other mention was the advisory team. I just learned from a member Combs, she'll speak to it, that we have, she's belonging to a technology advisory team. But then you mentioned, Chris, there's an AI governance team. Is that the same, or is that different type of teams?
So last July, the district decided that we needed to have an AI governance team. It is made up, it's a Hillsborough County team. It is cross-divisional district representation. There's a list of who sits on that team behind tab 4 in your support materials there. We have met once a month. I think we missed a hurricane. We missed one for a hurricane. To really what we've done so far is to explore the landscape right now. Read the federal, read the state. What are other districts doing? Talk to our outside partners before we pivoted to now what do we need to do in Hillsborough to write local protocols? And now we're at a point that we think we have our feet underneath us to start engaging teachers in that process as well.
good thing. One other thing, and then I'm going to go back into the queue. We talk about digital citizenship. It's in the Student Code of Conduct. I think Mike didn't put the page numbers on this one, but I don't see, and it's troublesome even with our policies, 2131, 2210, 2250, the actual word, and I might be missing it because Mike Rowland's still, doing a little bit of revision, but there's not the acronym AI in any of that. So if you, and I even went to Broward, Osceola, and Orange County, and they've tried pilots, but they're still having hiccups with all kinds of things. So, but we don't have the verbiage yet. AI is not in the Student Code of Conduct, unless I'm seeing things, which I could be, or not seeing things, nor in our policies.
So yes, ma'am. So yes, in reviewing the Student Code of Conduct, I found the same thing.
The inappropriate use of technology is where it's at.
So I did find acceptable use, the opportunity to develop collaboration, innovation, communication skills. But I too, the digital citizenship piece in our Student Code of Conduct doesn't include. It doesn't specifically address AI. And another area to continue to revise our Student Code of Conduct is the actual language around academic integrity. And what does that look like? Because although we have some references in rights and responsibilities for students, we need to address that as well. And so once again, we'll probably come back with some Student Code of Conduct recommendations to review with the team.
Okay. Well, I've talked enough and asked enough, and you've given us a lot to think about. So I look forward to other board members' comments. You did an excellent job, every one of you. And this is it's not a whole new horizon, but for us right now, it is going to be a big one. Thanks, Member Vaughn, for allowing me to ask questions.
Thank you, Member Gray. You asked some questions that I had, so that was helpful.
Oh, okay.
Next is Dr. Hahn.
Thank you, Chair Vaughn. First, I want to just thank you for putting this all together. You've really developed a vision around this for the district, which is best practice before you do anything else. And you're clearly also at the point now where you're implementing that vision, and you've demonstrated how you're going to do that over the next couple of years. So it's really great to see that big picture, but also now kind of get into the weeds a little bit and see how it's going to be implemented, on the ground level. So appreciate that. I'm going to kind of piggyback off of Member Gray's comments around digital citizenship. I think that's a very important document to have in higher ed. That was something we had to develop too when I was at USF. Because students need to understand their boundaries. It's important that way they know the expectation of their behavior in the space. My guess is you don't spell out AI or social media or all the other Canvas, all the other places that involve digital citizenship. There's an expectation that includes all of those things, but maybe there's some way, just because that's how I interpret digital citizenship doesn't mean every parent will. So maybe there's some way to say, for example, such things as AI, social media, Canvas, but it also may include things outside of that, but just to give some examples to parents so that they kind of understand how are we defining digital citizenship, unless you came up with a definition.
Thank you.
But my concern is the one thing we did do at USF is we had students sign it and return it. Do parents sign and return this, just so we know that parents have seen it, they know the expectations, is there a student and a parent place to sign this, and then students return it through Canvas?
So at the very end of the student code of conduct, so right before you get to the next orange page, I have been notified that I can review the student code of conduct online, and then it gives the website. I've received, read and understand and agreed to abide by the student code of conduct, and then it has a student and a parent signature.
Okay.
And then we also have it in Spanish for parents.
Right. And they upload that into Canvas, or where is that housed?
I don't know the answer to that, but I can find that out and get back with you on how actually that happens, whether...
Like, how do we know, who's tracking that to make sure their student is returning that?
So I know last time when we talked about the student code of conduct, what we had said is it was inconsistent, and sometimes it went home in the first day packet. Like, I know I've gotten it as middle school and elementary. So I know we talked about making that more consistent across the board. So I'm not sure, per your question, if we've made any headway on that.
So I'll take a note of that and make sure that I get that information back to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next is Member Combs.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you, Member Gray, for bringing this up several times, because I do think it's very important. I mean, I think, we want to always be at Hillsborough County. We want to be ahead of the game and be, in front of all the technology. And I think that, AI is really going to change learning, and it's going to change teaching completely. I think things are going to look very different in the future. And I think it's great that we're kind of going along with the wave. And thank you, Colleen, Ms. Fawcett, for putting this all together. I spent time, so I'm going to go through my tabs, so that way I might be all over the place, so that way I go through key points that I thought were important. But thank you for putting this all together. I think it's really important. I was reading yesterday in the New York Times saying that, it's going to look very different in the future with AI, but that means that students are actually going to have more time with the teacher. The one thing about AI is it saves a lot of time. I know I use it in my own personal life, and it saves me a lot of time to be able to do other things. So I think that as long as people kind of embrace it, I think it's going to be here, and it's going to change very rapidly. So I think the most important thing is what you're doing now is embracing it and being in front of it, because if not, I think the way everyone is going to learn is going to be very individualized, and also it's going to give teachers more time to make sure that they have that emotional part for students. So it's never going to replace, teachers are never going to be replaced, but it's going to give them more time to have that really authentic, independent learning. So I'm going to start with the second tab. Okay, tab 3. When we look at the local districts, and I think this was brought up by Member Hahn and Member Gray, you can see in Seminole County and Volusia County, they've already added, I think one of the biggest issues is students making sure that they're not, using the AI as their own work. That's one of the biggest concerns I think that we have. And Ms. Fawcett, we talked about this yesterday, do our schools or will our teachers eventually have a product that can kind of help them be able to identify if a child is not using that correctly? And I know you answered this.
That's interesting, and it's a hard question to answer, because currently a tool, a piece of software where you could run an essay through a piece of software and try to determine if there's any AI generated material, the reliability and the validity of the results are quite problematic, because sometimes those tools catch things that really were, you talk to the student, you interview the student, yes, I used this product or that generative product to assist. You have other students who, when interviewed, their parents, absolutely not, we don't believe in AI, we did not use any, but the tool comes back with a result that's different from what the student or the interviews, the investigation sounds like a negative thing, and I don't want AI to ever have that connotation, but any tool that's currently available, the research is not there that there's trust, I guess, in the reliability of it. So it will be something that not only Hillsborough County but other districts and other educational, not only K-12 but secondary, post-secondary organizations are working through right now. And how do we deal with this? I know we talked a little bit in our governance team about protocols for teachers. Greg, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was interesting. Went to a conference recently, and we had an opportunity for a college professor to present, and he spent a lot of time talking about how he has grappled with the use of AI with his college students. And basically, he's come down with protocols for them. He lets them know right in the syllabus that there'll be assignments where I absolutely want you to use AI, and I'm going to prescribe to you what that needs to look like. I need you to cite it. I need you to. Sometimes they have to annotate what prompts they used in order to get that information, but then they cite it like they would anything else that they put into their paper. He went so far as to say that he has and he put up a graphic where he had a green light, a yellow light, and a red light, and he's like, this tells the kids, they know that when I'm talking about this assignment that yes, they're to use it, and they know when we're talking about this one that I don't want them to use it. But he puts a caveat on that, which I thought was very interesting. He said that he asks his kids to use it on every assignment. He said, I never want a paper from you that you have not run through Grammarly, and it checks for APA 7th or MLA. He's like, I don't want to be fixing grammatical errors or usage errors. It needs to check, make sure that your citations are correct. So he's teaching them how to use it as a tool, which is what we keep going back to as we talk about the students. When we met with the Superintendent's Advisory Council, it was very interesting to listen to the students and talk about some that are so fearful to use it because they're afraid that they're going to get an F on something because someone's going to think they used AI. And then the ones that are starting to dab into it a little bit, but they want guidance. And it's one of the things that we keep talking about as we talk about the professional learning for teachers and I think one of the strengths of the committee is bringing the teachers and the students in on the conversation so that they can help shape what that looks like. And it's not just some principals and some district folks sitting in a room deciding what's going to go on. It's been really nice. It's going slow to go fast, but authentic conversation so that we have that student perspective as well. So.
The students in your advisory council were amazing. In just giving their perspective and just their honest feedback, and some of the work that they did is in the notebook as well for you to look at when you have a free minute.
Okay. And then thank you very much. So, and I guess that goes along with making sure that we put something as we're moving forward to get those protocols in and what that looks like, to make sure that we put something in the student code of conduct that's not there. The next is tab 4, where you have the governance team, and I see you have 23 people. I see that you have one student. I just thought it would be great to add a parent and maybe somebody a community member, somebody who's in the technology field that's maybe a community member, or somebody from the Chamber of Commerce or something like that. I just saw a lot of district people. It would be great to see some people from the outside. I see you have one student on the governance team, right? Brandon Austin. Is that a child or is that an adult?
No, actually, he's a supervisor in the Office of Student Family.
Yeah, I wasn't sure when I looked at that with the AI governance team. I was like, is that a student or is that somebody from? But I thought it would be really good to bring someone from the community as well as a parent, and maybe as a teacher leader too, or like a student leader in our district, to get them involved. So that way, as we're making this, we're looking at the student perspective, the community perspective, as well as like the parent perspective. So
thank you. Great input. Currently, no. We've spent the
entire.
How do you
know I highlighted Austin, like Brandon Austin, student family and engagement. I thought that was.
That's okay.
I wasn't sure.
We've truly spent the entire fall learning, just as a group of district level leaders. Let's learn as much as we can, and then let's pivot and say, okay, now what? Now that we feel stronger in where we need to go, what next? And so I certainly appreciate the input on that. We'll certainly make that happen.
I think maybe someone from the PTA, somebody from the chamber, and then one of our students who is interested. Okay, and then as we mentioned, when we talk about the student code of conduct, or actually, let me see, sorry. Okay, yeah, when I look at the policies in the next tab, right after that, nowhere in the policies do I see AI. I know we're just starting and looking at that, and I think it's an easy change to look at that. I mean, we may just make some, simple policies now, and we can always add it and change it, but I think it would be important and good we don't have to wait another year to have some type of policy on that, especially when you see other smaller districts that have that. I'd like to see that. And then along with the student code of conduct as well, I think Member Gray and Member Hahn pointed out when it talks about digital citizenship, and I read over that, it doesn't have anything about AI. So adding like a point with the AI, especially for next school year, but maybe starting with a policy, I think that would be great. Then moving on to tab 6. So one of the things that I noticed, like reading over and over with the surveys, the biggest reluctance that I saw was really from the principals being most nervous, not favorable, unfavorable when it comes to AI. Because it seemed like when I looked at all the surveys, so that tells me that we really need to do a really good job at the beginning to talk to the administrators about it, because when you see that the students have a very high favorable, parents have favorable, but then you see the administrators that's kind of down the middle, that tells me that we probably need to lead with the administrators first and make sure that they have the education background so they're not scared of it, so it comes in as something positive. That's just kind of, I'm sure you figured that out, but that's just my feedback looking at that. Let me see. And then finally, just that final tab, looking at the draft training, I think that's great. Looking at the rationale and your planned dates and what you're doing, I'm glad to see that we're being, innovative and ahead of time and looking at that plan. I really appreciate you giving the training and the plan, the step-by-step, the phases that we're doing. I think that's really great. And I think that's all I have. And I know we talked about the products, and do we have any feedback now from Amira and how that's going?
Absolutely. So I actually did a site visit with the Amira leadership, and that's part of the requirements of those outcomes-based contracts, is the Amira team has to come and walk classrooms and watch their product being implemented, and we can troubleshoot. And so we're just starting to get results in. Remember, Amira is a product that is used for a very targeted group of second and third graders where we're trying to build their reading fluency. And so I can get some results to you after we get through this next DIBELS administration.
Great. Thank you so much, and thank you for all the work and all the resources in this. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Rendon.
Thank you. Thank you, staff, for putting all this together. It is a lot of work, and it's cumbersome, and it's come a long way, and everybody's learning where we can all fit in, and I really do appreciate the time that you guys have taken to do this. If we go back to the beginning, and we talked about the different kinds of levels, and we talked about like Microsoft and Copilot, and we talked about Khan Amigo, and we talked about the 3 different options, Microsoft Copilot being the one that is under our umbrella for the protection of our security and so forth. So with that being said, Member Combs brought up a very good point, and you brought up a very good point as well about the technology and not being able to actually have the integrity of the technology to really be able to identify on whether or not someone's using an outside AI product or not. But yet one of the things we do have available to us is through Khan Amigo. If teachers are utilizing it for the uploading of their documents, it will recognize if the habits are not the same. If it does show that a work that has been done for the first 2 quarters is now different in the 3rd quarter, where it can recognize where there's been some shifts in student work. So we do have some things available to us, but my concern is with that, does that not still have the same protection? Is that not still used with the link of Canvas for Gaggle or for that security purposes?
So there's 2 different Conmigos we're talking about. So one is Conmigo for Canvas that Chris spoke about. We've had a conversation about Conmigo that is for student use.
And teachers.
Yes.
which is part of as well
Yes.
the grant process through the Lasser Foundation, and that's also part of the bill that they were awarded the grant that we could be using in our district that would give that access to our teachers and could be under our umbrella, correct?
Right. Absolutely. Any contract we enter into with any organization has to go through our data sharing agreements to make sure that that all of the data is protected and everything is safe. It's one of those guardrails that has to be put in place for every single contract we write to protect students.
But Khan Amigo is an access that does give teachers more access and flexibility of they have the curriculum and the standards already set in that they could have some curriculum and some my mind just went totally blank, but they're
what's in Cosmico?
Which part? Because now you're distinguishing it differently. I understand that there's a part of Khan Amigo because Khan Amigo is a large body. Through Khan Academy, which our teachers are very familiar with, that has a much larger database that we use on a regular basis, and our teachers are familiar with it. Part of it's now being attached to Canvas to be able to do daily lesson plans, but they can incorporate in the larger Khan Amigo, to my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, which again is one of the operations that is allowed and eligible for grant that came out last year. And we were notified when that grant came out because I notified you guys, hey, we're ready to go. The grant is available to Hillsborough County through the Lasser Foundation and through Lasser at University of Florida, and Khan Amigo was awarded that grant. And that could come in and expand the use of AI under our umbrella in a more secure manner, giving more flexibility to our teachers and being able to write lesson plans, and then students can upload their work into the same so that it can all be looked at as a body. Are we looking at that at all?
We are looking for that and once again, going back to those grant dollars, it's the bureaucracy because they are not available yet for Hillsborough County due to how the grant is being administered through Lastinger. And Lastinger has done the RFP and vetted all of the companies that that districts are allowed to use, and then they let us know you're going to be using this product, you're going to be using that product.
So we've applied for the grant.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Yes. If that was the question, yes.
Could you tell us a little bit of the difference between the three? Because you're saying there's three different Khan Amigos.
Specifically, Khan Amigo for Canvas is a prompt library. So none of the kind of tutoring aspect or the student uploading work yet. It is a prompt library where teachers that are not comfortable with writing their own prompts, or they're maybe not getting this stuff out of just a general large language model, they can have a prompt library to do some of the things like you're talking about, lesson plan unpacking. From a data sharing perspective, since you mentioned the umbrella of making sure we're protected, teachers have to create an account in Khan Amigo to use it, whether it's in Canvas or whether it's on the web. If the teacher uses it through Canvas, it falls under our data sharing umbrella that we already have in place with Canvas. But if they were to go out and just open a tab and access it, now they're outside of our data sharing. So this is one of those things where you go slow to go fast to kind of understand those different parts of it. That being said, we are currently working, I know part of Tom's staff is working with procurement to get a data sharing agreement signed so that we're protected in both places. As somebody who came from the classroom, I wouldn't want to give a teacher a tool, then say, if you only use it here, you can use it with student data, but what if they happen just on a weekend to open a new tab and log in? I want to make sure that umbrella is there for both. So as we start to pilot it at King, the awareness will be there and the teachers will understand they can only use it here. Before we go wide to the entire district, want to make sure that anything that goes in a Khan Amigo is protected from a data sharing perspective on both sides. Does that make sense?
Is there a possibility that we can get that agreement prior to King opening it up so that teachers have the most flexibility they can have?
We're going as fast as we can to get the data sharing agreement signed. It's a thing between the company and our procurement department. I can circle back with you on that for more details on that particular process. Wanting to put the tool in teachers' hands so they could start using it somewhat and get us some feedback on it. So as we train it, we've got that piece, understanding they can use it, and then say, okay, now you can use it in both places.
Because I do know that they are working and using this. They are using these Khan Amigo in all three levels are being used in different districts. So there is an example of that that agreement throughout the state of Florida. So I wouldn't think it would be that hard to make sure that we have our staff protected and give them the most flexibility. So I would encourage us to do that before we do any kind of pilot.
Okay, understood. Like I said, we're working that process, and we'll try to get that done as quick as possible so we can get it in the hands of those teachers at the full capacity.
Right, thank you. And then, like my fellow board members, this is definitely something that we brought it up before at the board meeting, that it is inconsistent with the student code of conduct, and so the more we can be specific when it comes to this type of thing, and again, just giving what is good, what is bad. I mean, really just being specific, and then requiring families to sign it that they have read it and they've received it, because that is not a policy we have in place right now, and nor do we do it. So I think it's school by school. I'll be honest with you, as a parent, I've not signed the code of conduct probably in 10 years. So, and that's because, it doesn't come home. It doesn't come anywhere. It's not given out in morning, because we're not sending home first day packets anymore. We're saying you can go online, and but that's only not every school is doing that.
Per school, it's not something.
Correct. So those that are embracing, so that being more consistent, I think we need to make that a policy across the board. Something with student code of conduct that we definitely make sure that our policies are in place. And then I would look to being able to do that with our, the different tools that we use. I do appreciate the fact that you brought students in on the use of that. Quite frankly, and a lot of times they're smarter than we are when it comes to technology. So knowing what they know is almost better, and allowing that. The other thing is, we have a lot of teachers that are currently using a lot of AI in their classrooms now. They're currently using a lot of that. Did we utilize any of them for any of this work that we're doing? Because, quite frankly, they're doing a great job, and a lot of them that are utilizing it now.
So thank you for that. What the survey revealed is, outside of the survey that we sent out to all of the teachers in our district, I received 20 emails back from teachers saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad. Thank you. I'm excited. I'm using this." So they reached back out to me because I'm the one who sent the survey out. I called each one of them to say, "Okay, tell me about your experience, your background." Some of them said, "I train. I do this outside." I sent those over to Chris Holt saying, "Here's some trainers for you." So I agree 100% is teachers are using it. Many of them are very skilled in it. So how do we bring them into the fold? Given a new topic like this, I was excited about the number of teachers who responded. I got a few that said, "I don't want you to use this. It's not part of what we believe in." And it was more of operating from a sense of fear or not knowing which is why then my next call once again was to Chris Holt saying, "We've got to get training, widespread training up and running this summer, because the success of this implementation it's totally reliant on teachers understanding the power behind it, but definitely the risks with it as well."
Oh, thank you. And I appreciate my other board members also with the sentiment that nowhere will this ever replace a teacher. There is no better teacher than an actual physical human being standing in front of them, being able to teach the subjects. But this can take away some of the administrative stuff. It can help them with grading. It can help them with looking over and doing first level looks. And so I do appreciate that. But I think the message needs to go out to everyone, our teachers, our families, our students, that nobody can replace a human being at the end of the day. And what we're doing is just to enhance. So thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Member Brendan. I came in a little bit late, so if I have any questions that you covered in the beginning, I apologize for that. I appreciate all of the conversation, and what I really appreciate is that there was due diligence before this came forward to get as much feedback from different stakeholders around this issue, because even just looking at how the different counties are responding to AI, I mean, it's all over the place, from one county completely blocking any access to AI to others incorporated in curriculum. It feels like this is so new and developing so fast that a lot of different people have a lot of different stances on it. So I do think that while as board members we all have opinions about it, getting the parental feedback, getting the student engagement, getting the teacher back, the feedback, getting it from administrators. I mean, Member Combs made a great point that you have to have the buy-in at the leadership before it can be implemented throughout the schools, as well as looking at other counties and looking at it nationally, because everyone's having these discussions. So I appreciate that aspect of it. I would agree that moving forward after the district level and seeing these surveys, which I'm not sure how they went out and how accessible they were, because it looks like we got some good feedback, some good responses when it came to students and teachers, is just when those committees go, as Member Combs mentioned, making sure that we have someone from the technical world, right? Because again, it's important to have student and stakeholder input, but I mean someone who actually understands how fast AI is generating, but also, again, having teachers on there, because ultimately, they're the leaders in their classroom. They're going to have the most feedback between being that liaison, between seeing what the students submit, what their grading policies are, how admin is added to them. So I want to make sure that we also have a lot of, and opening it up to lots of different teachers. Like, I'm not sure how we offer our opportunities for teacher engagement or admin engagement, but I want to make sure it's very thoughtful and diverse, and it gives everybody an opportunity and not just certain people who happen to be engaged, because I think there are a lot of people who are going to have a lot of opinions on this this topic. What I'm curious about with all of this data, and I'm really thankful that you had the your advisory committee give feedback on that. Thank you for sharing that. That was really helpful. I mean, it seems all over the place. What have you gathered from looking at all that data and looking at how everyone is approaching it differently and putting so much time as this committee and learning about it is going to be, do you think, the most helpful stance going forward, other than I hear training our teachers to use it responsibly and giving them the professional development on it? I mean, are we concerned that as that unfolds, we're going to take a more harsher stance and be more restrictive on it because we're concerned about how students use it? Because that seems how some districts are. Are we confident that with this professional development, we're going to roll it out in a way where we're going to be able to mitigate that and use that more as a tool? Like, from all of this data, and again, this is maybe what I missed in the beginning of your presentation, what are you advising specifically this board when it comes to policies to roll out with AI?
So originally, as I looked through all the policies that we currently have, AI sits in so many of them, from professional learning to preparing our students with future-ready skills. There's a place that AI already sits. What I'm hearing is you'd like a policy related directly to artificial intelligence, and I'm happy to work on that with Kristen Davis, bring that to you, judge the language until it's something that we can all agree upon. I think that what I've learned, and the committee can talk about this as well, is if we ground everything we do in those 6 principles, then we're on the right path, because those 6 principles are kind of the themes that fall through the federal documents that they have authored, through the 22 states. Those themes lived in every single state document. I expect it to live in the recommendations coming from the University of Florida for K-12 implementation, the team that I do sit on. When I look at the other districts, I can't speak to their level of their research and their thoughtfulness when it came to developing their particular policies. I believe in Hillsborough, if we develop something that is in alignment with those 6 themes, we can't go wrong. Okay? We can't go wrong. Will we make mistakes? This is new. The technology that we know right now this morning about AI will be outdated before we put our heads on the pillows tonight. So all we can do is continue to be our lifelong learners that we are, and if we need to pivot, then we need to pivot. We do that as adults all the time. It's an excellent thing that we teach children how to do. Hey, we're going down this road, the circumstances changed, that means we have to change. Bring the superintendent's committee back together, teachers, parents, whomever, to guide and advise, and then you move forward from there. But those 6 principles are really grounded in what we know today and the research that's been done.
That's helpful. I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am.
And then, sorry, my thing wasn't on. That's helpful. I appreciate it. And then I have one question that may or may not be pertinent to this. Do you anticipate, even with AI, that kind of blending into concerns about social media usage? Do you because I know that as board members, we have some concerns with like student usage of social media. That's opening up another kind of avenue for students to be bullied, and that's a huge concern. Do we see some talk about AI overlapping with some of that conversation, or how we're going to respond to that as we respond as a board going forward in the future?
So it's interesting because in everything we've read, I haven't read that connection. It doesn't mean it's not there. Greg, you want to talk about that a little bit?
The only thing, Ms. Vaughn, the only thing that came up is we do have a couple of staff members who are trying to make their lessons engaging and thinking about creating some lessons that are bite-sized for kids, so podcasts, things of that nature. And so them trying to use platforms that kids go to and then having to have a conversation with them about, listen, you can't put a podcast on TikTok for a kid to go watch because their parents may not write. So back to Chris's point about bringing that back to Canvas, which every student has access to and which has our data sharing agreement, having those kinds of conversations with the teachers as this all has developed has brought all that to the forefront, which is one of the reasons why we're back to your point about what this is all going to look like. Look, Pandora's box has been opened, right? And so now for us, it's about really figuring out helping students have the skills and being able to use AI as a tool and critically think for a job and a life that none of us can imagine because we haven't lived it. And so it's going to be very interesting because things are going to have to be specific and broad at the same time, because to Ms. Fawcett's point before, things are going to be brought back to you, things that we couldn't foresee. And so what we're doing now at King is we're having conversations. You know, the IB luckily came out with their policy. It's very broad, as you can tell, but it left teachers enough room to take a look at and describe for kids what acceptable use is and what isn't. And I just go back to universities themselves have grappled with this recently. I have a friend who's a university professor, and USF was originally saying, oh, you can use Turnitin and all these things to check to see if students are using AI, and then they had to come back and say, no, you can't, because to Ms. Fawcett's point at the beginning, it's not 100% reliable.
Right.
And so we're going to be grappling with this, and so I'm just excited that we're going to be giving kids some guidelines, some guardrails for their learning, and I think that's what we need to be doing.
Okay, so the takeaway I'm going to take away is, one, we believe that sticking to the 6 pillars, as you mentioned, is a good guiding light to move forward and kind of start the process, but that we're going to be extremely engaged with our community and adaptive as things come up. I think and maybe my board members wouldn't agree, but I think they would agree, what we would like is just a lot of information. Like, we'd like the opportunity as we roll this out to get a lot of feedback about what's working and not working, so we're not kind of blindsided by maybe some issues that we have at local school sites, and then the opportunity to talk about this and create the policies that we might need to help guide that going forward, because it does sound like it's going to be quite a journey going forward. So those are kind of my takeaway and thoughts on that. So I appreciate the work that went into this. I know Member Perez is joining us remotely and would like to ask some questions and give some feedback.
Yes, hi. Hi, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Okay. All right. Good morning. Yeah, this is great. I have a different perspective on this, especially as a Latina, walking in a very different world. So what I've heard and the feedback that I've received is that the students like and absolutely love the AI, because it and a couple of the students walk me through it themselves. So what they do is, of course, I have this significant issue myself, is when we're Spanish, when we first learn how to read, write, and speak in Spanish, we tend to put words, and mix things up when we write. I know I tend to do that a lot, whether I'm speaking or writing or, it's the way I see my world. So a lot of our Latino students who are now monolingual or just learning how to read or write our English language, we sat down And we were looking at the AI and how it helps them to construct their sentences better. And even explains how that sentence structure is in a way that our students are understanding a little bit more on how to prepare a sentence, how to use their words more proficiently. Could you talk to me about that, or explain to all of us a little bit about that and that benefit?
Yeah, Ms. Perez, it's interesting. There was a teacher at the conference recently, 32-year veteran, and the gentleman, what she said is she felt like it was going to be a great equalizer for a lot of students. That what she saw and why she was embracing AI was because students had an opportunity, if their parents, when they go home in the afternoon and their parents are both at work, to have someone that they can ask questions to and help them think through things or get a start on, or to your point, explain things to them, as long as they, again, if we teach them how to ask the proper prompts, that it's going to make that learning process more equitable, especially when they get home in the afternoon and if they don't have someone right there to help them with their homework. So there's an opportunity there for them to be able to access AI, to use it for those purposes. I know some students are using it in classrooms now, to your point, where English is their second language, to help them get another reiteration or a second explanation on what has just been said.
Correct. And when these students get home and their parents are monolingual Spanish, they are also getting laid up on helping them with their education at home. So for me, that's the benefit of AI, especially the way the students were showing me with helping them restructure, help them understand how to form sentences better or paragraphs better. For me, it was, a building block for them that I think is going to, like you mentioned, push them forward instead of moving them backwards. Thank you. That's all I had to say.
Thank you, Member Perez. Dr. Hahn, real quick, and then we'll close with you, Member Gray.
Thank you. So real quick, let's talk a little bit about policy today. That's one of our main roles here at the school board. And out of the 3 policies that you have in the binder, is there one that is kind of low-hanging fruit where you could see that could be changed and could be aligned with the work that you're doing? Or is there, in your opinion, a whole new policy that needs to be added to the school in addition to realignment?
Thank you for that, because I was looking specifically for that, since, yes, one of the responsibilities of the board is policy. I really do look at the innovative programs, and I think it's 2250, I'm just moving through here. And in all innovative programs, projects should be consistent with the district's objectives and long-range plans. The board promotes the continued improvement of the instructional curricular programs of the schools. All new or experimental curriculum programs, projects considered for use within the school district shall be approved by the superintendent. The superintendent shall initiate procedures for recommending and evaluating curriculum programs and projects. I think that there's some room there that we certainly could incorporate if we modified the language, because this is innovative currently in the generative. AI has been in place since, we've had 1950s is when that true artificial intelligence really started. I think there's some room here that we certainly could, because what we're doing now is we're taking the multitude of board policies and because we need to start writing those protocols. And but there could be some other ones there as well.
And if I could jump in at this point too, because I think listening to the discussion today, I think Ms. Voss is correct that would be a good place for it. But I think for purposes of the board and the public, coming up with a policy that you could easily find in both the student code of conduct and the policies, it says artificial intelligence, and very, very broad basis.
Yes.
How can students use it? How can staff use it? Because it is going to change constantly. But one of the issues with our policies, when you search for something, it's not easy to find.
Right.
And so having something there.
So you're saying in addition to revising these policies, we should also have a standalone policy.
And we have a policy workshop coming up in March, and I think we could.
So I'd like to make a request to the superintendent today. Since you have so much expertise harnessed through the three of you, your governance, Mr. Superintendent, could that team work on a standalone policy that could be presented at that workshop?
Yes.
In our next policy cycle to help the board then go through that, and because I think we all have an interest in presenting this policy. I think if we presented it, as a group through the staff, that would be the most effective way to, kind of fast track through our next policy cycle, if we could.
Yep, sounds perfect. So we'll have a staff-driven policy that we'll present at the March 4th board workshop that we'll bring before the entire board to have discussion around that. But we'll have that policy, proposed policy at that March 4th workshop from the team.
And if there's any revisions through the other policies you'd like to bring as well, that's fine. But I think that, we have this opportunity coming up, and it gives you a couple of months. And you've done so much homework around what other districts are doing. You probably already know what type of standalone policies they have. And with a little help from ChatGPT, you could...
You guys got 5 minutes.
Tie it all up. Copilot, whatever you want to use, and then you can refine it to fit the needs of our district. So in all seriousness, I appreciate that.
We're really aligned with that, right?
That's right.
Copilot should do that.
So that's really all I wanted to say around that, but I think it'd be a great way to kind of, get us moving on that. And you all have so much expertise. If one of us went to you anyway, you'd end up writing it, so why not just go straight to you?
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, we'll make that happen.
And I absolutely love that. I would just ask that before you bring it forward, you kind of, as your rough draft, meet with board members just to make sure. So we have some time to give you feedback instead of doing it right from the policy floor.
Yeah.
Thank you. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to go in the spirit of the AI awareness, which is what's happening. The board members are becoming more and more aware and more questions, and it's fluid. So to the point of a policy, the consensus seems to be, Superintendent Van Ayers, Jim Porter, to have a separate policy. But I also think the following policies invite at least the acronym. I'd like to see, Jim, 2131, 2132, I've got to get my glasses on, 2210, and obviously 2250, 2240. So those are all, there's not all of them are here. But those all invite those, and also matching with, and I know which Mike's not here, but we have to put that into the digital, and I know, Greg, you agree, it has to be in the code of conduct as well, because it's definitely, and I agree, Member Randon, and I agree with anybody, every board member here, that code of conduct, and Member Vaughn, do you sign that when you get it from your child?
I have, yes. It's come in my packet from the principal, and there are things we have to return, including their emergency card, and I have to sign that I've received and understood the student code of conduct. But it sounds like that's school-specific.
Yeah, well, good, responsible parent. But anyway, I always worried about that. The next one I wanted to say is the timeline, just to give us an idea. I would like a timeline for not only the teacher's education, because we're looking at plagiarism and plagiarism, etc., but I also would like an administrative timeline. So that would be important, just so we are on the cusp of being informed. Because it is it's coming like a tsunami. And at the same time, and Greg, you're so informative because you're sharing with us in real time what you're learning, what your feedback is so integral in helping those 6 principles last. When we talk about the computer science, Chris, and all the leverage that we're seeing, will we be having more electives that are coming from this? Is that in your, Chris? Yeah, sorry about that. Chris's.
Yes, ma'am. I would forecast that. I could see either more students taking this pathway or the state developing a wider variety of pathways, particularly for middle school, younger students to learn it because they like to see content available 6 through 12 over the long run.
And I think if we can adjunct to the literacy movement in I know pre-K is very early, but looking at primary grades, the earlier the better, because they're hearing, I mean, they, as mentioned, they know more than we do, even my grandkids, in terms of the computer, social media, and all that navigation. So, and I'm back to principles because that seems to be where you are going from versus, we're giving you feedback, but you're going back to this. Last, Member Perez asked about, there's an equity piece in your 6 principles, equitable access. And of course, we have a growing amount of Hispanic, but we also have other demographics that the language, just like we're saying, acronym AI needs to be put in there, but also we have to be language sensitive. Superintendent Van Ayers, are you listening to that one? Because we have a lot of different languages, and we have to identify, again, this is a huge coverage and a big topic. So I hit all the points that you have, 6 principles. Thank you all for everything that you're doing, and your work is, it's going to be instrumental in the future of our academics and our social emotional future of the children. Thank you all. I'm done.
Well, thank you, Member Gray, for being patient and assistant on this workshop. And did you have some closings?
Yeah, just some closing comments. I want to thank Colleen, Chris, and Greg for assisting us in the workshop today. Very useful information. And again, board members, that March 4th workshop will have a staff-driven policy that will come forward. Ms. Fawcett will review it with each of you as we get closer to that workshop, so that way on the 4th we can move through that policy process. So thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Seeing that there's no further comments or questions, this workshop is adjourned.
Great job, guys.